All right, I think we'll get started. Hello, everybody. I'm Michael Sai, head of product here at Zluri. I'm very excited today to give you guys a overview of some of the things we've been working on, spotlighting some key product capabilities, both currently generally available as well as in early access, and some sneak peek of cool things that's coming. So let's jump straight in. So first off, we're very excited to be recognized by Gartner to be named a leader in the Magic Quadrant for SaaS Management Platforms. So this is a great accomplishment by the team and recognition, and we're very excited for this to show you guys this as well. So if you want to get a copy of the report, we have the QR code there. You can take a picture of it. Check it out. And yeah, this is a very awesome recognition, especially given, how long we've been in the market, and a testament to the team and everyone at Zluri, and as well as being recognized by the customer as well. So very exciting achievement. In terms of the product spotlight today, we're going to talk about some of the feature launches, platform level updates, as well as sneak peek into what's to come. And we'll break it down into different product areas. And so first off, we're going to talk about the SaaS management side. So for this section, I'll share a little bit more about what we've launched with Smart Contract AI, as well as the SaaS expense mapping automation. All right, on the Smart Contracts AI, really this is a enhancement to the workflow itself, right? Today you can upload contract, you can manually upload them as well. We have integration as well to pull those in, but when you're doing an upload in the form filling part where you're entering the information manually, what we added here is to allow that kind of digital contract review to be able to enhance and improve that upload time in terms of when you upload to when the contract is saved. And so we're able to parse through the upload the information on the document itself to pre-fill a lot of the information while still giving you the ability to review, update, and change. So let's take a look at what that means in action real quick here. So you'll see when you go ahead and do a contract upload, select the contract you want to do, and you'll see that it's being processed and going through the detection itself and processing by the Zluri AI. And once you submit, you'll see that the initialization of that review, and when it's ready, you'll see the option to review the draft. So it's always going to be a draft mode, so you can start and see what's been pre-filled. So previously without this, you would have to come in and then provide and enter these. Now we added the ability to have them auto kind of extract from the view, but you can still come in and make changes. For example, changing the owner view or adding different user tagging, as well as the end date information, review date by, you can still go through. And so basically we kind of help with that cold start, right? You don't have to do everything from scratch. Everything can be pre-filled and enabled at front. There's many other options you can also configure if this is the first time you're seeing the contract upload experience. You see there are many items that you can set up. We're setting up the true updates, as well as the cost amortization, right? And if you have additional config when it comes to the checklist, you can also configure those. And you'll see that in the license detail view, now we have one, the specific line item. But if you need to add additional licenses, we give you that option as well to modify. So adding cost, adding the descriptions here, and the quantity. You can also apply the cost there. And yeah, so final review before you add the contract, additional, just checking all the information here. And you can save it as a draft, or you can also provide the submission directly. And that's it. All right. So that's on the smart contract AI. On the SaaS expense mapping part, this is early access still. What we're providing here is basically a kind of automation logic, right? Rules where you can have a predefined policy in the sense of like how to categorize the various entry. So mapping those transactions, sometimes it could be a lot of transaction, right? It might take a lot of time to go through each one, but this rule mapping basically give you a kind of automation logic to apply it with more higher accuracy and less error prone, and also just again reducing the manual time to do this. So let's take a look at this in action as well. So under spend, there's the automation tab here. And when you have this enabled, again, it's early access. So if you want to get in this experience, definitely reach out to your CSM, Customer Success Manager, and we can get this sorted. Starting off with the rule, you can give it a name, right? In this case, we're creating a rule for Slack. So you can give it a condition, whether it's a description containing specific keyword. You can also designate it based off of the vendor value here. Put Slack here. All right. And you can add additional condition or conditions as well. Once you have your condition configured, then you can configure set up the action, right? What is this rule going to do? So in this case, hey, if the transaction matches this condition, it's going to get matched to Slack. So that's, again, SaaS expense mapping, like I said, is early access. So definitely reach out to the CSM if you would like to get access to it. Moving on to access management part of the product care pillar, I'll go over 3 items here. The first one is our on-prem AD connectors that we've been working on, and then time-based access control, and then the webhook actions, which is kind of a custom actions in this case of triggering the workflow. On the on-prem AD connector front, basically what we're creating now, right? We have a lot of integration with cloud directories, and this is basically expanding into also on-prem AD directories. This is not for ADS FS. If some folks have questions, we're not in there, but this is primarily your AD Active Directory connector, right? Running on Windows servers. So this is a general kind of architecture diagram view here. It's early access still right now, so we'll have more kind of like UI stuff we can show down the road, but essentially it's syncing with the on-prem AD's directory system. It'll pull right now, be able to pull user and group information. And what we're working on also then is next step is to get that kind of provision and action downstream to the directory itself as well. So very exciting work here. All right, on the time-based access control, right? We've heard the feedback around like, hey, I don't want to just give control directly like all the time. Like, can we keep it to, let's say, a certain amount of time? This is something you can actually configure. So this is, for a lot of like just-in-time or temporary access, app access, right? For, let's say, contractors, seasonal workers, or some level of privileged access as well, right? So enhancing more security by limiting that duration and have more compliance when it comes to the audit trail. Let's take a look at what this looks like. All right, so here you're seeing this is a request flow, right? From the kind of employee side perspective, you can say, hey, I want to request access, temporary. You can set the duration there and submit that request. And then you'll be able to see in your access request view as an employee view. You can also go through Slack, right? Slack, I know a lot of people, a lot of company, right? This is where people are working most of the time. So being there accessible directly within Slack is something we also support. So the field here, again, similar to the web portal view, you can set these parameters to submit. Now let's take a look at what admins, right, configuration look like here. So there's a request policy automation rule that we're looking here, where when the application is being requested, right, we can say, hey, when the account equal certain attributes, right, you can set these, again, conditions, and you can create different playbook. In this case, for example, now in Slack, you can go through, hey, let's add the user to a specific workplace for the approvals. And this all can be configured within the application itself for these automation actions. All right, we're going to go through also assign app license, specific enterprise for this one. You can also, update the name again when you're going through and publishing that playbook. So once you can also provide the deprovision side, right? So if it's a time-based, that means that there's the initial approval provisioning, and then there's going to be a deprovisioning. So you can set up both the starting point of that getting access to also the ending point of revoking that access. So the workflow part is similar in terms of configuration. Now let's look at the rule itself, right? Status change, or we can mark them for onboarding, offboarding. Again, this is all condition based that you can use. You see here, we'll set it to addition, right? Select the specific playbook that we're going to run. Right, you can run it based also on onboarding date and time, or immediate. You can also have set a delay of when, time based. Now looking at the action side for the using Zoom as an example, again, we're setting up different licenses here. Okay, going through the action, again, setting up specific role. That's a config if you need to. And then let's see, adding a removal task as well there. Again, you can do a scheduling here based on days, minutes, and also and weeks as well. All right. And that pretty much gets you into that time-based access control that you can configure. Now we also have the webhook action. This is really exciting because this is more extensible in the way that we say we can connect with, let's say, third-party system as well. For example, if you have, let's say, Workado or Okta Workflow or other third-party, let's say, workflow system, or even just third-party or let's say vendor with APIs that you can trigger actions, right, or post or get and those sorts. We can actually configure through the HTTP request. We also do requests with callback to get the update on status from those systems. So triggering automatic workflow directly and then get that status trigger. These are the two. We'll take a look at the action now. All right. So when you go in to add in the playbook, right, you can search for HTTP. You'll see that there's both the request and the request with callback. You'll see you can do get, you can do post. Let me actually go back a little bit here. See, there are some questions as well, just so people get a little bit more view, right? So you can see options in terms of get, post, put, delete. These are all available to use. And they can set the URL specific that you want to. This is the API endpoint itself. Now you can create a header, right? Give it a name and the specific value. And there are also parameters that you can configure that we'll see here in a bit. All right, let's see. We said the user email is a parameter. And set that value there. All right, now let's say we want to do another one. We can do app name. Okay. And I think we can do just one more here. Okay, application type. All right. And then that's pretty much it. Add to the task, and then you go ahead and publish the playbook. Pretty straightforward there. All right. Moving on. Next product area, we're going to talk about, I'm going to share about access requests. So there are two key capabilities here. One is the access request from an auto approval perspective, as well as additional custom fields, right, that you can configure for the user to see as part of their request workflow. So focus on that kind of end user experience there. All right, so auto approval in this case, right? Let's say if you have less scrutinized applications, or you have a general understanding of like, hey, this is let's say less restricted, we can have auto approval set up, right? You can cut really the problem space for this is right. How do we get to let's say the noise down, right? Like the ones that often is, yes, it's going to be approved. We have less requirements specifically to that. How to make that process more easily complete. So ticketing, right, down volume there. Also fast tracking, right, non-sensitive access, and just generally quicker time to resolve. And let's take a look at what that experience looked like here. Oh, there you go. All right. So again, this is a rule based, right? It's kind of an automation rule logic that you can create. And so when you look at, hey, there's an existing application, you'll see the specific condition that again you can set to when this rule is going to be triggered. So in this case, we say, hey, account type equal employee. And you see at the bottom, there's the option, right, to do initiate auto approval process. There's the also auto reject as well as auto approve. So you can select, which one that you want to go through, and they will run. You can define then which playbook to run, right, from the automation perspective. And that's it. Say the rule, and that's going to be triggered when it's run. And so again, this is showing again the end user experience. So from the end user side, nothing really changes, right? Again, you see that triggering of the workflow itself. But yeah, just to give you a easy way to do any sort of auto approval actions. On the custom fields, this is pretty exciting. This is actually just released last week. And so again, for flexibility, modify the field, right, during the request workflow. And again, focus on the end user side. You can set custom additional fields to guardrail, let's say the access request itself, and get additional context by enforcing, let's say, mandatory field. So there's many different potential field type that you want to look at. And let's take a look at what that experience look like. So here you see the customization view for custom fields, and there are 4 different options. You can have text box, drop-down type, Boolean, as well as dig picker. And so in this case, we're going through and setting up for each one. So you can have, again, field name. You can also mark as mandatory field. And in this case, for drop-down, right, you can have multiple options here that you can configure. On the Boolean side, it's pretty straightforward, right? And yes, no options here. And then on the date side, again, you can select, hey, I want to pick a specific date with the request. All right, so now this pretty much go through the settings, and we'll take a look at what the end user experience look like here. You can also go back in and edit and change. And when it's edited, we'll ensure, right, hey, are you sure you want to change this? And we'll give you some additional logic and validation of like, hey, if there's something that has already been used or is previously already configured, just to make sure, right, we don't have duplication. So on the end user side or employee view, right, you'll see here the requesting workflow here for a specific application. Those custom fields are now going to be visible in the form itself. So you see, let's say the simple text field that we set up earlier. At the bottom there, you'll see these are required. So therefore, they can't proceed without actually providing the value. And so these are all the ones that we shared and set up earlier. All right. So that covers the custom field for access request. All right, on the platform side, we have done quite a bit of enhancement, right, from a stability, a scalability, but really around also the privacy aspect from PII data. And so we have the ability, right, to secure PII data with your own key, kind of accessible vault. And this, support using AWS KMS via the secure ARN mechanism. It is GDPR compliance, the self-hosting of PII information is really to give the customer, right, that power in the sense of ensuring that privacy, is anonymizing the sensitive data. We have that stored in dedicated vault, and the access, it's only right through your own. So if you want to revoke access on your end, revoking the key, you have that fully controlled on your end. So this is something that's available today. All right, so this is the part where it get pretty exciting for me as well to share kind of what's coming next, or what we've been working on a lot. And so the one more thing here, right, is Zluri V2. So uh, we have a lot of feedback from customer, right? We have grown quite a bit from the SaaS management platform perspective, also with automation with access management, access review, access request. We definitely see the need, right, from the experience perspective, like holistically looking at how do we improve the general experience for the product and also the usability of the product. And so we launched actually the early access for Zluri V2 in the last 2 weeks. We have about 5 customers on board now. We continue to bring in more. So if you're interested to get involved after seeing what I'm going to show you in a bit, again, reach out to the CSM and we'll be able to engage on that front with you. So let me go through some of the key highlights of what we are working through for the Zluri V2 perspective. So one of the things, right, like I said, it's a user experience, kind of product experience enhancement. So things like quick filters, right? Instead of having to search for the right filter, configure the right filter, we give you a chance to, an ability to have quick filter like these right up top that you can click on to get in to the specific column, roles, information that you need. Another enhancement we're working through, right? We've heard feedback is like, hey, I want to filter every columns or any columns in this case, right? Again, you can apply the filter directly through. You'll see the view there, right? You can do within the column itself as well. And there's various conditions there. From a entity checklist perspective, right? This is a guide to kind of drive the value where you can actually check for specific, let's say in this sense, integration, license, and a spend. That give you that option to set that information context. Being able to modify columns, right? Search and or select all, and that's another enhancement or driving in the configurability and the view. Being able to download CSV as well as the PNG from the chart itself. So we've heard like, hey, we want to be able to report this, or we want to be able to grab this information from the view. Hey, how do we do that? So as part of reporting, you can grab the table information, but in this case, we give you the access to directly, let's say, pull that from the interface itself. And more kind of information breakdown in terms of your application user, for example, giving you, by department across license or new application overview. The general overview page is getting refreshed. So you'll see some of these charts and graphs that are actually more applicable to the information that you need. And these are based on feedback we've heard. License trend graph as well, right? Again, more usability aspect. Again, how do you see what's assigned, what's available, what's overused across contract, and then this is a new application license place experience itself. See, there's some questions there. Cool. I'll get to the Q&A in a bit. Good questions. On the spend, right? We also know like, hey, we want to know what is the spend per department by department. So again, we're refreshing that visualization attributed to department for any application. So it's again chargeback, right? It's in its own tab itself. And again, being able to update the chargeback setting. So a more fully customized setting page with additional granularity. So you can do right chargeback bottom up, chargeback top down, based on specific split types, entity split type as well. And you can configure also again the manual department settings. All right, so that pretty much wraps up most of everything. And so it's a subset. The team's been working on a lot of great new stuff as well, but I want to make sure I address some of the questions. So I see there are 2 questions so far. First one from Ryan about on-prem AD connector. Will we be able to specify which OU to sync? Yes. So in the configuration itself, we're working through the UI itself right now, so I don't have anything to show, but you will be able to specify like specific OUs. So that'll be there. Shara asked about any thoughts about developing a help desk system that will work like the access request module, expanding it to be a full-scale help desk system, so the user will be able to open tickets from the endpoint portal. That's actually quite interesting that you asked about this. So to some degree, right, we are a SaaS management platform. We have the governance piece as well. Becoming a full kind of help desk ticketing That's not in the immediate strategic direction for us per se. But this is where we want to work with other system. I think of being extensible in, we have customer who are using, let's say, Jira Service Desk, ServiceNow, Freshdesk. That's where they live, right? That's where they already have all that system set up. So at the minimum, we want to be able to play well with those and integrate well with those. So that's where the approach is right now. In terms of us having a full-on kind of help desk beyond just, let's say, access request and other items like an IT support kind of situation scenario, not right now. I think I would say that's love to hear more about, right? Like what are maybe some of the more adjacent use cases that we can potentially expand into. But I would say us becoming a full-fledged kind of help desk in that capacity, like a Jira Service Desk or other, is not in the immediate or midterm strategic roadmap. Another question in PII Vault, any plans to add in HIPAA certification for it so that it could contain PHI info as well? Yeah, that actually is something that's the feedback we've heard. So it's in consideration. We haven't gotten to the work on that yet. So love to hear more. And there's also, again, other customers as well, feedback. I'd love to hear from the perspective of, yeah, what are some of the things you want to see when it comes to the PII Vault? It's a great question. Let's see, there's another. How many can we enable time-based access even for a few hours and minutes? Yeah, I think in the viewer show, there's the minute and there's the hours, there's a week. So those could be done. And auto approval rule based on role specific to application. So the condition you can see, right? You can set it to a vendor specific, you can set it to description specific. Role something I think we have to explore a bit more, but let's see. All right. Any other questions? I'm just time check real quick. We're having almost half-hour mark. How many contracts at once can be uploaded? So you can upload, so the review can be happening multiple times, but each time right now with the contract, it's per contract. I think you can do bulk upload as well. The review will take time, the processing itself. It is also with customers who are like, hey, we don't necessarily, from an AI kind of view perspective, want to opt out. That's also an option. Right now, it's a configurable config to enable smart contract AI. Let's see, any other questions? All right. I don't see any more for now, but if folks that are watching this from a recording side, if you do have questions, always feel free to reach out to us, reach out to the support folks. Before I wrap, I do want to just, again, highlight some of the popular or previously published webinar. You can read more about, I'd say, access review, the multi-level access review. That's a webinar I did with Loretta. There's a QR code there. It's also on our YouTube channel, so definitely take a look there. We also talk about self-service access requests as well in the past. So these are some of the relevant content to definitely look up. And with that, we will wrap the webinar. Again, thanks you all. Thank you all for attending. Appreciate the question coming in from the group. Any additional questions, feel free to reach out to us and connect. And hope this was helpful. And we'll see you again soon. Thanks all.